So let's fill this paper out. This test will be next Wednesday. Stop. Next Wednesday. Okay? So, here we go. Let's see what you know. See what you remember. So, key test February what? 12? 2 days before Valentine's Day. All right. So, here's what else. The first part of your test will be a half of a sheet of paper, and you will write the 13 names down on it. Okay? And then you'll turn that back into me. I'll give you about 5 minutes to do it. And then after you get finished with that, I will hand this out, and that way if you forgot one of them, you can still get the other points for it, because I'm telling them all to you.
It's only a 50-point test?
This is only a 50-point test. Okay? So the first one is the constant function. All right? Anybody remember what the constant function is? F of x is equal to?
MX plus B. X.
Y.
A would work, C works. Don't use X. Okay, I'll say you can use any variable, and then the kids will like to use the X. No, that's wrong. Okay, so equal to C. What does it look like when you graph it?
Straight line going to the origin.
No,
Horizontal.
a horizontal line.
Oh.
It's just like y is equal to 2, y is equal to 7, y is equal to -4, or whatever. What's my domain?
Negative infinity to positive.
Negative infinity to positive infinity. And what's my range?
C.
C, yeah. Whatever variable you use. It's not an interval, it's just, C, so you can't really write it in interval notation. It's not an interval. All right, identity function. F of x is equal to x. Very good. What does it look like when you graph it?
Squiggle.
All lines are straight, guys. Don't say straight line. That just
Positive
makes
line
you know
going
like,
to the
what?
origin.
How many times are you gonna say that?
How about a diagonal going out?
Wait, is this not a line?
No, it's not. It's a squiggle.
No, the squiggle's not considered a word though. It would be a line. Even though it's
Squiggle,
not
do you have
straight.
that guy's name? SpongeBob's friend?
That's what.
Squidward.
Squidward, sorry.
Squidward.
Sorry.
Not
That
squid.
would be a
Oh,
spread.
Squid. That's what his good friends call him.
That's his nickname. That's
Y'all not
not
kind of squiggle like this, David.
He's also not a spread.
Okay. Domain of the identity function.
Negative infinity to positive infinity.
Very good. What about the range?
Negative infinity to positive infinity.
Good job. Good job. All right. Absolute value function. F of x is equal to?
Absolute value of x.
Very good. And what does it make when you graph it?
V.
And the vertex is? At the origin. Okay? Y'all listen to me. If you don't put arrows on your graphs, I'll count points off of yours. Okay? So make sure you got your arrows. It doesn't stop. What is my domain?
Negative infinity to 0.
Positive.
Yeah. Negative infinity to positive infinity. That's domain. Domain goes left or right. Okay? What's my range?
0 or positive infinity.
0 in what?
Inclusive.
Inclusive. 0 inclusive to positive infinity. Okay, 0, 0 is a point. Inclusive means is a bracket. All right, are y'all, everybody okay?
Hold on.
As of right now.
Alrighty.
All right, so now we're on square root function. Okay, here's what's fixing to happen, guys. You kind of saw it come up yesterday, in that you're going to need to know how to graph these. All right, some of them have been in our piecewise functions, but the next part that we're going to talk about are transformations. So it's like taking different ones of these functions and moving them left, right, up and down, vertical stretches, vertical compressions, horizontal stretches, and horizontal compressions. Okay? So they're kind of just trying to get you back thinking about all that kind of stuff. We did it with the greatest integer function, which is on this sheet. All right, square root function. F of x is equal to?
Square root of x.
Square root of x. What does it look like when you graph it?
Correct.
No.
No.
That's it.
Huh? It's the top half of a sideways parabola. It goes like this. Now look, if you're taking the test and you just all of a sudden go, "Whoop, I don't remember anything, okay? Could you like just make a little T-chart and just pick whatever X is? Yeah, and you could go, oh yeah, now I know what it looks like. You see what I'm saying? Okay, what's my domain?
Negative 0. We'll find out.
Yeah, 0, inclusive or exclusive? Inclusive. You can take the square root of 0. And what's my range?
Negative infinity, positive.
0 inclusive to positive infinity. Okay?
Wait,
If
what is
you can-
domain?
Domain, 0 to positive infinity. You
And-
can take the square root of 0, guys. The square root of 0 is 0. Alright? Can't have any negatives under the radical, so greater than or equal to 0. That's a restriction we talked about, right? Anybody got a question? Quadratic function, f of x is equal to?
X squared.
Very good.
Let's go.
Okay, what's it look like?
Parabola.
Alright, this vertex is the origin. Alright, what's his domain?
Negative infinity to positive infinity.
Negative infinity to positive infinity. What's his range?
0 inclusive to positive infinity.
Perfect. Alright,
So how
everybody
do I
okay?
remember it?
Okay, cubic function. F of x is equal to?
X
Cubed.
cubed.
Alright. What's it look like? What's it called?
Isn't it like this?
Yeah, it's called an S curve,
That's
right?
what it is.
And the negatives are negative and the positives are positives. The negative x gives you negative y values, and the positive x's give you positive y values, which makes them look like this.
I was never good at drawing this
Okay? And actually, y'all, look, it looks like this is the right-hand side of an up parabola, and this is the left-hand side of a down parabola. Okay? That's kind of what it looks like. What's my domain?
Negative infinity to positive infinity.
And what's my range?
Negative infinity to positive infinity.
So if you forgot domain and range, what would be a good guess? Yeah, that's what I'd be guessing. Okay?
Rational.
The next one is a rational function. This one's gonna have a lot of extra stuff on it, okay? So f of x is equal to, what does the word rational mean? Come on, when I say rational, what's supposed to pop in your head?
Real neat.
Fractions,
Oh.
okay? When I say rational, fractions are supposed to pop in your head. So,
Fraction.
yeah, so whenever we do a rational function, it's 1 over x. It has an x in the denominator. That's what's gonna make it a rational function, okay? So these are some things that I will be looking for, and I'll tell you what they're graded. All right, it has 2 asymptotes. Please do not put the asymptote above it's on the axis, people. Don't go, well, I'm pretty sure Miss Davis can't see on the axis. Yes, I can. Okay, if you don't put it on the axis, I'm gonna mark it wrong, okay? What is the equation for the asymptotes?
7.
What?
stuff.
What's the equation for each one of those asymptotes?
Y equals 0,
Y equals 0 and
equals 0.
x equals 0. Very good, okay? I also want to, on your graph, I want to see 2 points. I want to see the point 1, 1 and negative 1, negative 1. 1, 1, I want to see that point, and negative 1, negative 1. I want to see that point. Remember what an asymptote is? It's a line your graph approaches.
But-
So, yeah, well, it could cross it, sometimes it does. All right, so it gets closer and closer and closer here, and it gets closer and closer here.
Oh, I
It does
remember
the
this
same
one.
thing right here, and it does the same thing down here. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for to grade. Your asymptotes are worth 1 point. These 2 equations, 1 point. These 2 points, 1 point. And then you have your other points for your graph and stuff. Anybody got a question? Okay, what's my domain?
Negative infinity to 0, exclusive to 0 infinity.
Very good.
Good job.
Negative infinity to 0, exclusive, union, no tail on that U, 0 to positive infinity. Okay, what about my range?
Same thing.
Same thing, he's going negative infinity to 0. 0 is my asymptote, right? So he's excluded, and then 0 to positive infinity.
This is so much to memorize.
Okay, well, hopefully you're not memorizing all this. Hopefully we haven't hit anything that you haven't known already. Okay? So, exponential function. F of x is equal to a times b to the x. An exponential is called an exponential because it has an x in the exponent. Okay? Now, exponentials also have an asymptote. It's right here. On the x-axis, what's the equation for it? Y equals 0, okay? There is a point that both of them, there's two of them we're gonna talk about, both of them go through, and it's this point right here, 0, 1, okay? So here's one of them, it looks like this. Okay, put your arrows on your graph, guys. All right, what's this one called?
Exponential growth.
Exponential growth.
And then the other one's decay.
Very good. So exponential growth is what you would like for your retirement account to look like. Okay, it's gonna start off small. When you get your first job, you're gonna start saving for your retirement. Because if you wait till you're 40, you won't be able to retire until you're 80. And I promise, I'm not even 60 yet, quite. And I'm ready. Okay, people, so hopefully you start saving early.
I'm ready to retire now.
The other one, yeah, well, work gets in the way of having fun sometimes.
I would rather work than go to school.
I'd rather show
I
myself
agree.
on that, do absolutely nothing.
Well, let me tell you this, and this was a statistic 5 years ago. 5 years ago, they said kids who had a college education over a lifetime made $1 million more than someone who did not have a college education. So, go to school, people, and get your
And then
education.
you look at the top, like, 3 richest people, and then you realize 2 of them didn't go to college. And then it's
Well, okay, so is that, when they do statistics, does that go for everybody? No, there's always those people. I mean,
Outliers.
yeah, look at Albert Einstein. He's super, super, super brilliant, right? But he got kicked out of school, quit school.
Hey,
He
Oprah,
was bad.
they said that they weren't gonna give her her thing, and then she was like, you know what?
And then she gave me a car.
Exponential what? What's this one?
Decay.
Okay.
Are we gonna?
That's what
have
I need
the
to
rest of
write
it?
conversation. Exponential decay. So here's what we got here. We got this label right here, 1 point. This label right here, 1 point. This asymptote,
12
1
points.
point. This equation,
6.
1 point. This little point,
3.
1 point. Okay, so he's got some extra stuff. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here's the next one. This is
Wait, you need to read
logarithmic
the domain
function.
range.
Oh, sorry.
Good call,
Domain.
Renee.
What's the domain?
Negative infinity, positive infinity.
Negative infinity to positive infinity.
Good thing
What's
we
my
have Brandon
range?
here to save
Negative
us.
infinity,
Our,
0.
there's nothing down here.
0 exclusive.
0 exclusive because 0 is an asymptote to positive infinity. Okay? Alright, so logarithmic function, y'all listen to me. These two are inverses of each other. They're inverses. That means they switch the x's and the y's. So this one has an asymptote at y equals 0. Where's this one going to have an asymptote?
X equals 0.
X equals 0.
Ain't
Very
that
good.
something?
Okay? Now, watch this. This one has a point at 0, 1. Where's this one going to have a point? 1, 0. Okay? This one comes off of the x-axis and goes up. This one's going to come off of this y-axis and go up like this.
The lines I drew are so pretty.
Okay? He's still got that same stuff. He's got 1 point here. He's got 1 point here. And he's got 1 point on that, drawing that asymptote.
So that's 3 points right here.
Here's what the function looks like. F of x is equal to log base b of x. log base B of X. What's gonna happen to my domain and range?
Flip.
Yeah, y'all, they're gonna flip flop. Look at this domain right here. There's nothing over here in the negatives. He goes from 0, exclusive, all the way to positive infinity. That's that guy's range, okay? What about his range? From negative infinity to positive infinity. See how those flip flop?
Ooh.
All right, you with me? On this next one,
I'll drop
I am gonna make you, greatest integer. F of X is equal to, it's a double barred bracket. A double barred bracket, okay? The greatest integer not greater than X. The greatest integer not greater than X, that's what that means. I'm gonna make you, make some tick marks here.
Just 2.
Yeah, 2 will be good, because it'll show me that you know, okay? Now, where you put these things matters, all right? I always say start here at the origin, make a solid point, go to the right, hollow. Go up, solid, to the right, hollow. Then do it, going down. Step function. You agree? Oh, here we go. What about that domain? Don't be crazy, people. It's easy. Yeah, negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay?
Same thing for the range, right?
No.
Range of the way.
Oh, no, no,
Oh,
no.
wait, because it's exclusive, so,
Yeah, the range is only what? What kind of numbers?
plus,
Integers. Only integers. So here's the way you write that. Okay? The range, we're gonna write it in set notation because that's the best way to write it. Okay? So we're gonna write range is any y such that y is an element of, anybody remember how to write integers?
iodine.
No, that would be a math person that knew how to spell.
a 0 or some O or something.
There's not any of those.
All real names.
Integers, what letters does that sound like?
What is,
N.
N, yeah.
almost said R.
Oh, I was saying like N as in like, I was about to say integers.
No, it's a double barred N, okay? It's a double barred N. Or,
Okay.
yeah, all this, I don't know why, but, like for the last, quite a few years, people, I guess the math people got offended or something, you know how we are. Just got offended because people were saying, oh yeah, math people thought it was an N because they can't spell, they thought integer starts with an N. So then they said, no, we're gonna make it a Z. Like, what? What are we, joining the English department or what? So, it doesn't matter to me which one you do, but I will say this, most of the math books, yeah, they're using Z now.
But it
Okay.
doesn't matter.
If you got an old school math professor, what would he probably use?
Then.
An N, because that's the way we were taught
So
back
do
in
we-
the olden days. Alright?
Do we write both?
You can?
Will we get credit if we just write one?
Mm-hmm.
We'll get bonus if we write 2.
That's good, no, if you
No.
tell Aiden yes, that's the only one he's gonna study, cause he's
No, Aiden,
You're not
no.
wrong.
Alright,
I'm not writing
sine
anything.
function. F of X is equal to sine X. Okay? What is my, well, let's do it. I'm gonna make you mark some stuff off on this one. What's the highest that the sine function goes?
1.
And what is the lowest that it goes?
-1.
And what is the period of the sine function?
2 pi.
Very good.
Come on, Colton.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a little pi in the middle because I think it makes it easier to graph. So remember that it starts in the middle, it hits pi in the middle, it hits 2 pi in the middle. So it's gonna start in the middle, it's gonna go up to 1, back to the middle, down to -1, and back to the middle.
That's insane.
Okay? So there he is. We are gonna put some arrows on him because he doesn't just stop there, all right? That's just one period. What's the domain?
Negative infinity, positive infinity.
Yes. Some of y'all on those graphs, that's the only thing y'all got. What about range?
1 inclusive to 1. Negative 1 to 1 inclusive.
Thank you. Always put the smaller number on the left on interval notation. Oh, sorry, I got a little carried away with on my negative signs. All right, anybody got a question?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we're gonna do cosine. Cosine is f of x is equal to cosine of x. He is the same, he goes up to 1, he goes down to negative 1. He also has the period of 2 pi.
Doesn't he start up though?
Yeah, he starts at the top and then goes in the middle, down to the bottom at pi, back to the middle and up to the top. Remember, these are the ones that you have to sneak away from and sneak up on. Okay, he also has, so his domain, negative infinity to positive infinity, and his range is the same, negative 1 to positive 1. All right, everybody okay so far?
Hold on.
Okay, let's do the tangent function. F of x is equal to tan x. Here's what he looks like. He is bound by asymptotes at pi over 2 and negative pi over 2. So I will draw my asymptotes. And then he has what looks like a cubic curve in the middle. It's actually not because it is bound, but it looks like this. Okay, I need to write the equations for these little asymptotes right here. So they are x equals, because they're vertical lines, and they happen at negative pi over 2, positive pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 5 pi over 2, 7 pi over 2. So it's x is equal to pi over 2 plus n pi. That n is that integer, okay?
Wow.
So
This is
they'll
so
use it down here, they didn't change it. But up here, I don't know why, but they do change it. Like even in our PreCal book, they use the z, but then when they do this, they use the n. Like, come on, we need some consistency here. All right, what's my domain? Oh, so any x such that x is an element of the reals, but x cannot be pi over 2 plus n pi. So there you go. There's the answer to those kids that said, do I need to know the equation of this asymptote? Well, you'll miss it here and here if you don't. So, yes,
So is it just a normal thing?
yes.
So if we put z in, that's bonus points, right?
No, don't do that because I've never seen it written that way. Okay? And whoever has their phone turned on, turn it off.
It was
Okay.
a watch.
Oh, it's a watch? Okay. I have my watch on too, but. So, what about my range? What's it gonna be?
Negative infinity to positive infinity.
Ta-da! There we go, kiddos. 50 points right there.
That was a lot more
All
than
right?
56, right?
Learn it, learn it, learn it, learn it.
Memorize
Whoa,
it,
whoa, 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 whoa,
memorize it,
whoa,
memorize it.
Please move it down. Thank you.
Done, I got it, memorized.
You said move it down.
Ready for the test?
Alright, we good? I'm ready for the test
I
tomorrow.
want a minute.
I was just kidding.
Ms. Davis, when's our next test?
Thursday, Friday?
Thursday, Friday.
Oh,
We're fixing to finish it up. We're fixing to finish it up. Today, I'm gonna teach you difference quotient. Y'all listen to me. Difference quotient is a small piece of a big calculus problem, okay? It comes up in calculus a lot. So if you are going to take calculus next year, or if you're going to take calculus in college, you're going to need to know how to work the difference quotient. You guys already know how to work it, okay? You just don't know what it is. So we're going to, I'm gonna tell you that. It's really easy.
You don't have
Is
to
everybody
take
finished?
calculus unless you like major in math, right?
Do what?
You don't have to take calculus unless you like major.
Well, you know what, that's a very good question, because if you go to a big school, I'm gonna venture to say that most of the lowest math class they're gonna accept is some type of calculus. Like, I know at A&M, if you get into the Mays Business School, then you have to take business calc,
My brother's taking that this semester.
critical thinking. And I'm gonna say this too, that in calculus, what you're gonna mess up the most on is your algebra skills. Makes me sad, but yeah, it always is. The calculus, kids get the calculus, but they're, I don't know, the algebra is ticky, very, very ticky. And so you get lost in it sometimes. All right, so here we go. Now remember what I told you, okay? This is just a small piece of a big problem in calculus. In PreCal, it is the problem. So difference.
Sorry, I'm alright.
Quotient. All right, the difference quotient. This is the difference quotient, f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. It does have a restriction where h cannot be equal to 0 because that would make it undefined. Okay? So, now listen to me, guys. Do I know where you're going to mess up?
Yes.
Yes. Okay? So I've been teaching 100 years, all right? I already know where you're going to mess up. So I'm going to show you some things to help you not mess up. Okay? So, please make good use of these things and this knowledge I'm fixing to share with you. Okay?
Tennis ball in here.
Is it, anybody else see like the little flicker on the
Yes.
line?
What's going on?
It's flickering, it's giving me
I let the spirit out of my
Oh, yeah.
backpack.
Is that better?
Nope.
It's all
Oh.
blurry.
Oh.
Oh, that's worse.
I can't even read.
I don't think I should swear.
Did it just start?
Yes, it was not like that.
Will you go check that connection over there on the floor and make sure it's plugged in really good?
Smells like fresh tennis ball.
What is that used for?
Tennis balling.
Seems fine.
Okay. All right.
Play
Sorry, I
tennis.
don't know. Oh, is that better or worse?
Worse.
Dad,
Okay,
not
well,
better.
get over it, sorry. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna tell you to do. The first thing you need to do is find this,
Oh, you're right, that is kinda hard to look at.
okay? That will be the first thing that you do. Find f of x plus a. Y'all, that's like a composite function, alright? That's all it is, a composition function. The next thing that I want you to do is always make sure that you put this f of x in parentheses. Because if you don't, you will only subtract the first term of it instead of distributing that negative throughout the parentheses. Okay? Alright, so we're gonna work some problems now. I'm gonna work 3 of them. Evaluate the difference quotient.
Is that an H?
Yes, that's an H.
Alright.
Okay, evaluate the difference quotient. So here's my first problem. F of x is equal to 2x. Okay, they're gonna give you f of x, and then they're gonna say, evaluate the difference quotient. Okay, what's the first thing we're supposed to find?
Restrictions.
No, stop. It says first beside it, people.
F composite.
Oh.
F of x plus h. Isn't that what it says? First, find this. So we're gonna find f of x plus h. What am I doing, people?
Chicago.
Yeah, in place of x, I'm plugging in x plus h. So what's it equal to? Well, 2, oh no, there's an x. What do I put in?
X plus
X
H.
plus h. Now you should simplify this out. Always simplify it out first, and then we'll continue the problem.
What's
Okay, bless you.
2x
All right.
plus 2H.
So distribute this 2 and tell me what you get.
2x plus 2h.
Good job. Okay? Now, is this f of x plus h?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So now, we're going to go minus,
Two
and what do I need to open up?
Parentheses.
Parentheses,
2x.
f of x, which is what?
2x.
And then, what's it all divided by?
H.
All right. So this is just, y'all look, there's just one term in there, okay? So are you with me that it just says 2x plus 2h minus 2x over h? Everybody okay? Uh-huh.
Okay, so where did you plug in the 2x? At the beginning? No.
Right here?
In the first.
You didn't
yeah.
plug into it.
I didn't plug it in. I didn't plug in the 2x.
Okay, but.
I said first you need to find f of x plus h. So they gave me f of x, so I said now I'm gonna find f of x plus h. So what did you replace x with? X plus h. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So on this other side, everywhere there's an x, you're gonna put an x plus h. So 2 times, oh, there's an x, so I put x plus h. And then I
But why did
distribute
you
it.
put the x plus h in the x spot?
Because it says to find f of x plus h.
Just gotta make
It's
it-
like if it would've said f of 3. You put
Yeah,
3 right there.
yeah, like if it
Okay.
said find f of 3, you'd put a 3 in everywhere there's an x. If it said f of elephant plus giraffe, you'd put an elephant plus giraffe, everywhere there's an x.
That equals
Alright, what
hippo.
happens here?
You cancel the 2x. and-
2 x's cancel, what am I left with? 2h over h, what happens?
H is canceled out.
H is cancel, and what's my answer?
2.
There you go, guys. You just did a difference quotient. Are you ready? Okay, what's fixing to happen? Yeah, they're gonna get a little more difficult. Sean? Three x squared minus 1.
Oh, God.
3x squared minus 1. Now, what's the first thing we're supposed to find? F of x plus h. So everywhere there's an x, what are you gonna plug in? So plug it in right there. You got 15 seconds. Okay, this is what it should look like. There's an x plus h. Quantity squared minus 1. Now, what did I tell you to do to this before you start adding on this other part to the problem? What did I tell you to do? Yeah, I said simplify it, okay? Do I distribute the 3?
No.
No, what do you have to do first?
Exponents.
So, can you square a binomial?
Yes.
People, I taught you how to square a binomial in less than 5 seconds. So, square the first.
X squared
Keep the sign.
plus
Plus.
Twice their product. Their product is x times h, so what's twice that?
2xh.
Plus, always plus on the end, square the last. H squared, and then minus 1. Now what do I need to do? Yeah, now I'm going to distribute that 3. Everybody in parentheses gets multiplied by a 3. So, I'm going to, did I forget something? What did I say?
X squared.
I forgot my square. Okay, so that will be 3x squared plus what?
6xh.
Perfect, plus what?
3h squared
Minus 1.
minus 1 over h.
Okay, can I collect anything?
No.
No, there are no like terms. So now I'm gonna do the rest of this. It says minus, in parentheses, f of x, and it's all over h. So minus, here's my parentheses. What is f of x, guys?
3x squared minus.
And it's all over h. So what does a minus sign outside parentheses mean?
Negative. Flip the sign.
So I'll have 3x squared plus 6xh plus 3h squared minus 1. What's the opposite of a positive 3x squared?
Negative 3x squared.
What's the opposite of a negative 1?
Plus 1.
Who disappears?
The
Ones.
3x
The
squared.
ones and the 3x squares. Anything else?
No.
No? So I'm left with 6xh plus 3h squared
over 8.
all over h. Can I reduce it?
No. Yeah.
Yes?
By 1.
By what?
H.
H. Okay? Be careful when you take an h out, y'all. When you factor an h out and reduce it out, that you always understand what's left. Like that guy's gone, but what's left there?
1.
A 1. Okay? This guy's gone. This guy, I'll just take his little square off. And so what's my answer?
1.
6xh plus 3h over 1.
6x
No.
plus 3.
6x plus 3h.
Oh, I didn't take the h out of the 6.
Okay? Remember, when you reduce, if you can't take it out of everybody, you cannot take it out of anybody. Anybody got a question? No? Okay, so I'm gonna give you one. Are you ready?
How did you do boggy golf?
Just like we did in this. So here's the next one. F of x is equal to x squared minus x plus 1. Find the difference quotient. Okay?
Oh, that sucks.
There's no like terms here, guys. Do y'all see how squaring a binomial used to be a problem and now it's a piece of a problem? You see that? That's what's gonna happen with this difference quotient. It's just
Wait.
gonna be a piece of a big old calculus problem. Do you understand why I'm making you write those parentheses right there? Because y'all, if you don't, you'll only be subtracting the first term, you won't be subtracting everything.
These are confusing.
I know for
Yeah.
real, I'm just like,
Wait, wouldn't that be a minus 1 instead of a, wait, minus h instead of a plus h?
I thought it was a 1.
those
Save this
cancel
one.
out.
Tell me what you're talking about.
Like where it's all over h, wouldn't that be a plus h instead of a, wait,
Yeah.
I'm stupid,
I thought you had to distribute.
I'm
them.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Very good.
Anybody got a question?
Wait, I just need to solve my now.
2xh.
So the only thing we can cancel is the x squared and 1.
And the x's cancel too.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I
that.
didn't
Yeah.
remember the h, I'm stupid. Yeah.
Is it 2x plus 8?
No, you did that, you did what I just told you not to
What,
do.
drop
Ayla,
signs?
when you take out an h, what are you left with? A 1.
No.
If you have a sign there, you have to
Okay.
put a number there.
Here's what you did, watch. Do you agree that every term has an H?
Two X.
Remember what I just told you? When
Yeah.
you take an H out, what's left there?
Oh, one.
So if you just cross this guy out and pretend like he's gone, he's not gone. It's a 1.
Oh, I got you. So it's 2x plus h plus 1.
Minus.
2x minus 1.
Okay, anybody got a question? All right, so
You can
the
get
bell's
lost in
about to
that.
ring. What time's the bell ring?
In 7 minutes.
Oh, okay. So, here's what I'm gonna say. Tomorrow, make sure you got your worksheet. That's what you're gonna be working on.
Yes, ma'am.
Thursday and Friday is your test,
Do you have a review?
if you have it.
Is there a review in the book
I-
like this? Cause I need to review it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you back your complex fractions and your composite functions
Okay.
tomorrow, so you can look at those and see what you did wrong.
That's the most.
You have, right now, you have the piecewise and the difference quotient, okay? So that's your review. I've made
Okay.
you practice everything.